Afternoon once again. We have done quite a lot in the morning. Just tell people to join in so that if you're still having issues with the LMS, don't worry. The issue that you are having is not, you are not alone. A lot of people are having. Let me see where you guys are at as of now. You see the assignments. Week one, we have 644. Only 10 people have submitted today. 371 impressive. It was at 200. 92. Okay. Impressive. It was 75. You have people who already started this one as well. And even those who have gone ahead of me. People keep amazing me now. Anyway, let us start the session. In the morning, we covered a couple of concepts. They were very vital. They were important. So, because I want us to make sure that we understand these concepts practically, hence the afternoon class. Now, let me close other tabs that I'm having here. Oh. Now, we covered some quite a few things here and there, but today we want to do a developer task manager. This developer task manager, you can see it's going to have a couple of stuff within it. And it is really imperative for us to go to utilize each and every aspect that we have learned in class today. So a developer task manager, this is the stack that we are going to use. So we are going to start with React. We have React using Vite, Tailwind for styling, ShadCN for reusable and accessible components. And then we're having API calls via Axios. You see, then we have React Router, GWT-based, route-based protection, and so on and so on and so on. So we'll be starting it shortly. Allow me to learn my notes. Great. Now, on the back end, of course, GWT, blah, 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 authorization, CRUD operations for the tasks, um, front end using React, and of course, other things. Allow me to see what should be added where. Okay. Right. Complete furnished. Now, task manager is something that we can be able to come up with in the shortest time possible. Now, let us go into the full hands-on session. The session is currently being recorded. So week four. Let me see. Developer, task manager. And we want to start today. And I'm going to show you something that is going to be very important, all the process. So you guys already know that I created a certain tool that helps us like work within Git environment easily. So let me see if I can have several. One, two. So I created a tool that I want you people to utilize it. That tool, you can clone, do anything on it, but this tool is very important. Just go and find how to use this tool. Let me put that on your charts. It's a tool that I created. If you keep forgetting Git commands, I've made it be like shortcuts. You just follow the instructions for Windows. We have the instruction for Windows, Linux, Mac and Linux, they are the same. For Windows, you can use the WSL, or You can go for the Git bash, or you can go for the other way, which is PowerShell. You verify, even don't you don't need to do this. You just after installing it, it auto does this thing about the terminal. I guess I forgot to remove this one, but you can check the version. Thumbs up if you have installed and enjoying how to using this. It's not part of class, but it's something that is going to help you people. How many have used this tool that I created? Let me see even on the charts. Now, this tool is a great one because every command that you need, it is here. So you're not stressed, oh, this is here, this is here. No. Actually, even I gave you just a quick start. This is how you initialize, you commit, then you can switch to a branch if you want to, but immediately you initialize, it creates a main branch. If you are creating a feature, you can create a new branch, commit to that branch. You can push to all remote origins. You can check your graph log, like your commit history within the project. You can check any other command that you wish to do. Let's say you are trying to push. I'm going to show you. Let us just see. Because this project, I want to start this project, the developer task manager, alongside creating a repo, and we keep committing it so that we avoid committing at the end, like one commit. That doesn't sound interesting. So let's say we come here. We say, so let me choose the owner and then stack. We come here and say week 4, developer task manager. So it's a public repo. Desists, please never, don't do this. Don't click add readme. No, we don't do that. That is an old version way, old school way. Don't do that because their commands are there provided. So instead of doing that, just click there, create. You have all the commands, but for me, I don't want to target this because you are going to confuse yourself. For example, this is a command that so many people confuse a lot to publish. Now, because for me, I'm using SSH, I'm not using HTTPS. I'm a SSH user because I don't trust this method. I trust SSH a lot. So that's why you can be able to see the difference. HTTPS, SSH is just there. So I come and do copy. So because this is a project that you're starting, my tool, when you come and say version, okay, the version that you're having is the latest. And when we come and say git org help, or you can say cheat sheet, anyway, you can have all the commands that you need, 35 of them, from cloning, initializing, and everything. All the commands that you can dream of. I want to do the next version, which is going to auto commit, like generate a commit message detailed according to your project. That is the next part that I want because AI has done that already. So I want it to do in the terminal as well. Now, so we come here and do init. So if you want to check for Git, first of all, you come and say ls. This is going to check for hidden files and folders. If you want to check for hidden files and folder and even the permissions, that's how we do it. So permissions, we have D, R, W, X, so read, write, execute, and so on. So we don't have Git, we don't have any folder. So we come and say init, and it is there. So when I say ls, you can see the Git has been initialized, and actually you can check the branch. So you can come and say branch. Do I have the command for branch? Let me see. Do I have a command for branch? Yeah, branches. Yeah, not branch. So you can come here and say branches. Okay, that has not been committed. When you commit, it's going to create. Now, that is it. So let us publish it. So when I say, let us create a small project here. So I'm going to say mkdir. We have server and we have client. So these two folders, as you can see, we have the folders. You can check even the hidden folder, which is Git. So we have those two folders. So for now, I want to navigate to the server. So CD server, that is what we are going to start with. And then I'm going to commit the initial one. So how do you do that? So let me, house rules apply, by the way. If you have any question, put that on the Q&A. We'll be revisiting from time to time. Now, because we have this, we have the task manager for the developer. Now, we want to go for the next one, which is initializing. Now, we are using PNPM. If you don't have a PNPM, just say npm install, then flag G. Now, install flag G means globally. You install it across your computer. Then you say PNPM. It's going to install it. So let me see. I think there's a new version. Okay, okay. It's okay. A new version is there. So you can confirm PNPM. If you don't want to run out of space, please use PNPM, not NPM. It is performant. Now, to initialize, we come and say PNPM init. Then you hit enter. So you're going to have something like that, right? In PNPM, we don't do PNPM install. You say PNPM add, PNPM add, PNPM add, right? So I want to add dependencies I'm going to add a couple of, that is Express, Mongoose, Express, which is our API framework, Mongoose, which enables us to communicate backend and database. We have .env for storing uh, environment secrets. We have CORS, which is going to allow us to allow frontend to communicate to the backend. Then we have bcrypt.js for hashing of the password. We have JSON Web Tokens for just authentication. And then you're going to install NodeMon to keep our terminal persistent, right? Now, that is what I'm going to do, PNPM add. And because some of the dependencies we already did install them in other projects, right now you're going to see, we are going to just reuse them. And download maybe a few, maybe bcrypt. I didn't install bcrypt, by the way. I think I did, but let me see. So Mongoose. And then we can have course, we can have .env. Then we can have bcrypt, not bcrypt, bcrypt.js. Put it here. Then you can have JSON Web Token. Don't confuse it with Java Web Tokens. So you click add, install. So it's going to reuse a couple of them. It's going to download new ones that are there. Let us add another one which is different. So PNPM add NodeMon. So we already have it, so it's going to reuse the current one that we have. That is the beauty of using PNPM. We don't use MongoDB driver, just have Mongoose. Mongoose is going to do everything. Remember, Mongoose is at the middle of database and backend. The other things, just install them aside, like MongoDB driver and everything. We have MongoDB client, but just use Mongoose. It works well. This one is very smooth, very slick, amazing. Now, I already explained how these tools work. Remember, this one is the backend server. This one is the MongoDB object modeling. It's not, we are don't using the driver. This one for the object modeling. We know this one allows frontend to talk to the backend. Allows, by the way, because it's going to be part of the middleware. This one is here to load the environment variables into the .env file. And here is for password hashing. And then finally, we have this one, which is for creating and verifying GWTs. And then, of course, not forgetting auto-restarting our server during development. Anytime you make changes, this guy is going to auto-restart. Now, we are not done yet. So let us create an environment variable. But first of all, when we come and check, we are missing one thing. We are missing one thing. If I want to commit this thing, I just come here and say, because it's a node environment project, I come and say make ignore. I say node. So it's going to generate, when I come and say code, it's going to generate a .ignore file, by the way. .ignore file that is very extensive. So .ignore. Ignore. No, no, not git ignore by the way. What am I doing? So you can see it has auto-generated this thing, having everything that I need by the way, but it's missing a few things here and there. Let me see. Oh, it is here. These are the things. So using my tool, I'm able to come up with a git ignore file out of the box, regardless of the project. So right now I can able to commit this one. So we can just come and say commit. First of all, we need to create an environment variable. So in here, inside the server, by the way. So let me just open VS Code in here. There you go. So this is our server. This is our file that we have just generated using make git ignore. So the most important thing that you have to check most of the time, without failure, is the environment variable. Make sure all of them, they are ignored so that they cannot go to production or Git. Otherwise, you're going to have your code stalled, like a lot of things that are going to go out there. And then the other thing is node modules. This one is the heaviest of all. When you're using NPM, this one is normally even gigabytes. It's normally heavy. Why Bcrypt? Let me show you. Why am I using Bcrypt.js? So let us see. Is maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let us see. Let us see. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. I guess we have to, but this one is the one that is being used. In the morning, actually, we use Bcrypt. I don't know which one is the latest, which one is the oldest. I think this one is the oldest. Bcrypt.js. That's how you import it. So it tends to confuse me a lot. Because in the morning, we say just Bcrypt. Let us see the difference because they are there too. So Bcrypt. When I say Bcrypt npm without the JS part, so this one was last maintained in May 5th, May 15th or what? So this one for last published 4 months ago, this one a month ago. So you see, they tend to confuse me. Which one is which? They all do the same thing. Node.bcrypt.js. I guess somebody just is trying to confuse us. Yeah. But I think they do the same thing. Can you paste the commands that you do to install the... I'm not going to paste. You just follow along. It is the same command by the pnpm add express mongoose course. Can screenshot as we move along. Minimize, and then minimize. If I keep pasting, we are going to lag back. Please show the make ignore. The make ignore command, you are targeting what you're trying to ignore. So I'm trying to ignore anything around node environment. So we are dealing with the Node.js runtime environment. So when you say make ignore, it's going to create an ignore file, git ignore file with everything around JavaScript or TypeScript or anything Node.js runtime environment. If I want to make something around Python, I can do the same. I have not configured for many languages, but just for common languages. I've not done it for other languages because commonly they use Node a lot and even Python. Now, let us proceed. This is the first part, and as you can see, they are ignored. You can be able to see the colors, they are different. So because you are in server, I am supposed to create a file called .env. That is how we are flowing, by the way. That is how we are flowing. So .env. So for .env, the usual thing that you have to think when you're dealing with this thing is MongoDB URI, JSON, Web Token, Secret, and the port. So start with the port. I want our port to be 5,000. Then MongoDB, Mongo URI. URI stands for Universal Resource Identifier. It's not the same as URL. So MongoDB, localhost It's normally port 27017 if I'm not wrong. Can correct me. We call this one dev task DB. I guess we have another one called task DB. So we are done with that. The next part, we have the DWT secret, and I told you you can put anything here just to say that that is a secret. You can use anything, maybe super secret, maybe super secret key, 123, anything that you want to put it out there. So how to install that thing, just follow the commands here. Here are the JSON web token. That's how you do it. PNPM add, not install, add, not install. Let me repeat. It is PNPM add, not PNPM install. For NPM, you say NPM install. So this one acts like how burn and yarn works. So NPM is the only one that uses install. We proceed. So we have the secrets, and as you can see, it is ignored. The reason why you have to supposed to see git ignore should be at the root of the project. As you can see, it is at the root of the project, not inside these modules for the server and the client. So this one is the express. This one should be the backend, the front end. So everything is here. I've not touched anything. I've not written anything. They just do it itself. Now, let us commit the first batch. So how do you commit using that tool that I gave you? Very simple. Just come and say commit, then put your commit. Server initialized. Then you do that, then that is it. Then you come and say push new. So this one is for publishing. Push new, these commands I started using them last year. It's only this time that I have managed to come and you build a tool that is going to make my work easier. So when I say publish new, it is publishing, by the way. Creating a remote origin and everything, then hit enter. So adding remote origin, then telling me to put, because I have so much security in terms of my Git push, by the way. So when you go back here, when you refresh, there you go. So you have your server. The client is not going to appear. Why? Because it doesn't have anything. It's empty. So you have your first commit. So by the time you finish a project, you can have even 30 or 50 commits. So that is going to help somebody know that you are an active developer, like you're doing it, not just pulling a project, doing it, and then pushing once. No, 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 no. The reason why I push a lot is because you can backtrack. Let me show you. Let me show you. Right now, we have pushed this one, right? Let me uncommit. So there's a command that I have for uncommitting. I can just come here. There's a command that I have for uncommitting. It's called reset soft, I think. Reset soft. So when I come and say reset soft, okay. Let me see. Let me say give a git. Okay, git cheat sheet. Where is the command? Reset soft. Yeah, we have that. Or you can revert the last commit. Is this. So you reset soft and do the last, but you've already pushed. So let us revert. You can just come and say revert last. There you go. So I'm getting this. This is the commit that I just did. You can see. At what? This is the commit that was just done. So it is that simple. So for example, I can just do that. And then we have the commit. Let us see how it works, by the way. So as you can see, it is like it was never pushed. We have everything back. It's like it was never pushed. If I go back here, okay, it is still there, but it was reversed. So let us now go back. Let me just touch everything because I've made a mess by that I didn't want to make. So remove .git. I'm training you how to do these things, not torturing you into it. So don't go and say, you see, oh, this is the class about MERN stack, but we started being taught about Git. No, 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 no. That is not my intention at all. My intention is to make sure that you are all-rounded. When you create a project of this caliber, you're supposed to understand how to do it from scratch up to the end. So, my password, very long one. Actually, not the longest. Good. So let us create a new repo again because I messed the last one. So we can come and say git big four dev task manager. Put it as public. Do that. And then I copy this. So what I'm going to do is init. Then I'm going to say commit. We still have the, okay, we have a lot of issues here, by the way. Oh, we don't have make ignore. Now that is the problem. So I'm going to say make ignore node comes with everything out of the box. So ignores this one automatically. So remove, and then I can now be able to come and say, yep, we are good. Now I can come and say init, yeah, they are ignored. So good. During my first time when I was doing a commit, I pushed the entire node into GitHub. It took like 2 hours to make sure that all is done. Which new? How do I create git ignore? You just say make ignore. Make ignore, and then we put what kind of runtime environment are you running on? You're running on Node. So make ignore like this. Make ignore, then you put Node. But you have to install my tool first. I recently realized that I can upload manually. Oh, why would support? Oh, now you don't know. You see this method that you're using for drag and drop. Wait until you are employed as a software developer. You're going to be fired in the first day. You're going to find a huge code base with 50,000 lines, 50,000 files. Try do drag and drop. Try do drag and drop. You're going to mess everything up. Please, can you deactivate the reaction? Is distracting someone always, is always cloning, clowning with it. I'll do that. I'll do that. Or how do you install that? So just follow this. Let me put this on the. It's my tool that I created, by the way. Just go on the chat. I'm posting it right now. You're going to find it there. Just follow the instruction for Windows, for Mac, for anything. You're going to find it there. Now let us proceed. We are wasting time, by the way. So we have pushed this one successfully. As you can see here. Okay, we have not done anything for the server. What did you do for the server? I've deleted everything, by the way. You see, that's the problem now. So let us go for the server and let us do pnpm init. And then after doing pnpm init, we are going to install everything. So right now it's not going to download anything. It's going to reuse what we have. Like I told you, it's not going to download anything. Then let us add the nodemon. So you can come here and say status. Status is going to show you exactly what has been changed. So you can come and say commit. So commit is going to stage and add v2 server deps. You see my commits. I'm the only one who understands my commits. Then when you want to push, just say push, push. Then it is gone. Yeah, it is gone. So when you come back here, when you refresh, there you are. There you are. Don't think what you're thinking. Go and sanitize your mind. Now, let us proceed. Now that we have everything here, let us proceed. Now, we talked about in the morning that we are supposed to have several files, several folders separated and everything. So let us start with the database connection. We need to make sure that MongoDB connection is established. So how do we make that come to life? So we come and create a folder called config. So the config folder within there, come and do db.js. So this one is going to have the connection. This one is going to be responsible for connection, right? It's going to be responsible for connection. So why, like to make sure that Mhm. To make sure that the connection is well established, we are supposed to do that, right? So somebody is asking why D when installing NodeMo? No, that is flagging it to go to the dependencies. Yeah, you can see it is flagging it to go to the dependencies. You're saying that I'm installing this one, but not to go to production like these ones. But when it is in the dev dependencies, it remains on my computer. It doesn't go to production. That's another way of doing it. Now, let us proceed. So this one is going to make sure that connection is there. So let us start. We already know this thing. So right now you should be flying. When you're talking about MongoDB connection, you start with the Mongoose connection, you establish. And we can fly if you want. First class, by the way. Now after that, we need to say, let me just put comment. So connects to MongoDB using Mongoose. Now, from here, you can just come and say, connect. Oh, if you're coding alongside me, please try to keep up. Otherwise, just watch. Otherwise, just watch. Because if you want to go with my pace, I can take you very fast. So just I recommend for people to watch so that we can keep intact. So this MongoDB connection is an asynchronous operation. So it should be serving that async way. So we are going to use the try catch. Remember, I'm always using the try catch, and this time within the try catch, I'm going to put a kill command such that if there's an error, the terminal is going to be killed. Like it's not kill like slaughter, but it's going to be stopped there and there, so that you can be able to come back and see where the issue is. So which means nothing is going to go on unless you resolve the issue. Now we proceed. So we come and say await mongoose dot connect. We know this process, but now this time we are not putting it inside. So because we have the environment variable, we have already created here. We only need this one so that we can come and say process dot env dot like that. And then we put our normal things, but this time I don't want those things, but they are not helpful. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So we are waiting for this connection to happen. So as soon as this connection happens, is successful, we just give a console log on the terminal to say, okay, everything checks out such that we can say MongoDB connected successfully. MongoDB connected successfully. I don't know who created this word successfully because it has double C, double S, double L, this English banner. Now we proceed. Now, if that is not the case, we throw an error. So remember you're doing console log, we can do console error. Just brings the verbosity of the error into light. Can come and say MongoDB. I want to rush through these small things that we have been doing so that we can be able to jump on the most important and critical parts of the system. Then here you can just come and say, okay, if that is the issue, now let us just give them the error that they want. So yeah. So here we are saying error because that is what is being passed here. So error.message. That is if the MongoDB's connection, but this one is going to stop, but the server is not going to complete continuous usual. So let us kill the process. So process.exit. So exiting is a certain number. You can put 0 or 1 if you want to. We are done with the connection, but not yet. You have to export. Dot exports connect DB. Now, anytime you want to call the connection, you're going to call it right here. You see? So remember, Mongoose opens the connection to your database, this mongoose.connect. Asynchronous operation, because the database connection is asynchronous. That operation works that. You see? And then we have to exit. Shuts down the app if the DB fails to connect. And then we export. Now that is it. Let us go to the database. Because we are configuring the settings of the database, you might as well just complete the process. So models. So in models, you just come and say user.models .js. Because this time we want to put an authentication. So let us create a user schema whereby you can be able to put email, password, and you can even state a role. This time you're going to have two roles because we're dealing with the developer task manager. We're going to have a developer and admin. So a developer is a normal person, admin accesses every task. You see? So we want to do that. So very simple. The same thing that we did here, we can just copy this if you don't want to repeat the process. Then you come and say, because it's a schema, you just come and say user schema. You just define how it goes. Because it's a new schema that is coming up, it is mongoose dot schema. Schema, you see, dot connect dot schema, these are methods that are found within MongoDB. And because they are method, they can be able to carry. They are going to carry, you can say in SQL, you can call them tables. You see? Or you can call them rows. These are rows, but now in MongoDB, you call them documents. So collection, in MongoDB, you say collection, in SQL, you say tables. But in MongoDB, you say documents, in SQL, you say rows. Now you come and say, because the first part is an email, we need an email from the user. So email. So the email is going to be of type string. That's the usual things, type string. And then it's going to be a must for you to enter it. So required, you say true. What else? This one is going to be the unique point for us to identify the user. So we are going to say unique. It's like declaring a primary key. In other words, for those who understand the other side, I'm just trying to sync the information to your side now. Now, that is the email. You need the password. Or is there anyone who is sharing an email with somebody? There's nobody who's sharing an email. So that can be used as the unique point of identification. So we come and say type string. Of course, we require the password from the user, so required. We come and say true. Forgive me if I'm flowing too fast, but you get used to it. So role, we have said that we need two roles. So we need to put an enumeration in an array that is going to take two roles. And the default one is going to be the developer, right? So we can come and say, so this one, the roles is going to be of type string as well. The enumeration or the enum, you can come and say, because it's going to take two, say the first one is developer, and the second one is admin. So when you're done with that, of course, the default one should be developer. Come and say developer. Simple. So when you have done all of that, the roles and everything, now let us export everything. So module, not model, module.exports. So we're exporting mongoose. So mongoose comes with what? We're exporting the mongoose, the model itself, bundling it to model, then you're calling this, what we call, you're calling this collection user. So, and it's already having that as the user schema. So we are done with that. Very simple. The email will be provided and will be unique. Must be provided. Let me underline that. The password will be hashed before saving. So let us put that in mind. We are going to see how to hash it later. You see, after creating the tasks model or the task schema. Then the role, of course, you understand, it is going to let us distinguish between the normal developer and the admin user. And then the enumeration that you're seeing there limits the role to be allowed to the allowed values. Like you cannot put any other role apart from what you're seeing there. It's only the developer and the admin. That's why you're using the enumeration. So limits the role to allowed values. The allowed values are two, developer and admin in a nutshell. So let us do another task, another model, since we are still there in the database. As you can see, my flow is from the database as I go up and up and up, and then I end up with the UI. That is what I do. It is easier to do that way. It is coming from somebody who is more in the backend. I'm more in the backend. So in fact, you normally design your database schema, then you can come and design your API layer, then you come to the front end. You cannot start on the front end unless, that's why when you go to companies, by the way, you're going to find that you have to wait for the database schema to be created, then the backend developers to come up with the API layer so that they can be able to give the front-end developers the endpoints for them to consume them and give the final product. I guess you are relating what I'm talking about, right? Now let us proceed. So we're talking about the task, same thing. So we are just going to copy this, put it there. Same thing. So const task schema, all right? So this task schema are going to take mongoose. So this one is a dot schema. It's a method. It's going to take methods or objects. Let's say not methods, objects. So for you to have a task, you need a title for the task. So the usual type, it is type string. Of course, we need that. So required true. What else? You need to say the task exactly what it is, so description. So just put a string there. You don't need to put a type string, not what, just put strings because you're going to have a text area whereby you're going to do that. Completed, I guess you people, when you see completed, just know when a task is created by default, it is not completed. So we are going to use Boolean. So type, they're going to say type Boolean. And because it is that, the default, when you create a task, by default, it is not completed. So default is false. And we have to create ownership of the task. Who has created the task? We have to attach that. So this is where you do foreign key. This is where you do foreign key things and everything. So how do you do that? So we are going to create ownership. So to create ownership, this is very simple. You just come and say, of course, the type of it is going to be matched to the user because we don't need to create another type. So we are just going to say, like, create that ownership of the, we are going to link it to the user ID. We are going to link the task to the user by the ID. So where do we get the ID? When you go to MongoDB, let me just open it. When you go to MongoDB normally, let me open it here, fire it up. For example, bring this one up. This is what you're saying, object ID. So we want to link. We know we have this ID here, so we link it via here. So we link the task to the user via their user ID. So where do we get the ID? Object ID. So for us to match that exactly, we are going to say mongoose dot schema. You have to go through all the process. Schema, then dot types. Then we can come and say objects. You can see you have so many. So we have objects. So it's going to have object ID. Then the exact reference. So we use reference so we can populate the task owner later. That is what we want to do. So we can come and say exactly how we can be able to call it. So you call it reference user so we can populate the task owner later. That is what I want to intend to do. We can leave it now, but let us just do it for later reference. Sometimes you code so that you can achieve something that you can scale later, but you're going to see the functionality of that later on. Now, we can come and say required. So this one is required true, of course, is a must. True. You see a question here. So somebody is asking, install, I've already shared that. Then our favorite learner is saying, can one use UUID middleware? And if so, can it also override the MongoDB ID? Okay, yes. First of all, yes, you can use the UUID. So, and it can also override the ID. So, however, it is important to ensure that the UUID value or the values in the UUID are unique across the documents. So while MongoDB allows you to override the ID field with the UID, it is generally recommended, let me repeat, generally recommended to use the default object ID that you are seeing here. It is generally recommended unless there's a specific reason to use the UID. So using that thing is okay, but also you can provide benefits such as portability, like you can lift this thing, portability, uniqueness across different systems. But it may also introduce some complexity here and there in terms of just data handling, data structures, and performance generally. So it's a good thing, Isaac. It's a good point that you are raising. So yeah, I believe you have been answered. Now let us proceed. We are not done yet, so just come and say module dot exports mongoose. What am I doing? Mongoose dot schema dot model. Sorry. That is the document that you are lifting. Task schema. We are done with that. Now, people, we are done with the database. Now, let us go to the controller side. This is where, but let me just commit this. So we can use the VS Code one, but okay, if you don't want, you can just come and do my way. So you just come and say commit MongoDB layer. But there, this is how you do it. You come and say fit, which is feature, fit MongoDB layer, done, and then you can push. So as for now, you have two commits. When you come here, you have two commits, three actually. You see fit, you have been seeing things like this. Fit means feature. Now we come back. Now this one establishes such that if you make a mess, you can know where. You can backtrack and say, okay, this is where I made an issue. So this is where the issue is. So you can backtrack and say the previous commit was working. Other than doing everything at once, then pushing at once. Tragedy. Trust me, I've been there, done that, and I know how it can mess you. That's why people reach a point and say, man, this development is not for me. Now let us do the controllers. Controllers. Now, I'm not going to recommend you to use the exact architecture, but it is going to be healthy using this kind of architecture. So let us start with the auth controller. It is going to be healthy so that you can know where to debug, wherever an issue comes up. Now, when you talk about controllers, this is where the real, let me repeat, the real logic is being written, people. This is where the real logic, when you say backend, now this is where the real logic is being written. So let us just go on this ride, by the way. It's going to be bumpy. So we start by, first of all, we need the JWT, we need the hashing. This is where you are going to write endpoints for sign up. Remember, it is auth, not just general, because we have for authentication and also we have for task. So we want to start by bcrypt. So bcrypt, but because we use the JS one, so we come and say require. This is common JS. Somebody asked in the morning, why don't you use ES module? Okay, but we are used to this. So bcrypt JS. Now for hashing, this one is for hashing passwords. Before you submit to database, you're going to see how. So if you're sleeping, please go and wash your face so that you can come, because this is where the real logic is being written. This is where JavaScript is being defined. If you sleep in this now session, in Kenya we say ole wako, or we can say just say go to buy, go to buy. If you have seen the meme. Now JWT, we also need that one. We have installed it already, so require. Now, if you are going to say just JSON Web Tokens, there you go. And then you also need, because we are dealing with the user, right? So see how it works. We also need the user schema. So where do you bring it from? Just come and say require. How many steps behind? So let us see 2 steps, I think, yeah. So you can come and choose model, then choose user. You're done with that task. So that is importation. Start with the first logic of the day. So sign up. Sign up, you can say sign up endpoint, logic, people. Now, instead of, you see, every day I show you new ways of attacking in JavaScript. Now, instead of me exporting them like I've done here, module exports and everything, this is how I can do it, by the way. I can just come and say exports dot, then I come and say, this is the name of my function, sign up. Of course, just keep using asynchronous operation because database is being involved. So asynchronous operation takes two, request and response as parameters, and it's a method. So we come and say, what do we need from the user? Two things. We need what and what from the user. We need the email. We need the password, right? So because it is coming from the user, we come and say request.body, and we are done. That's the first line. That is what we need from the user, email and password at the sign up level. If we need a username, we can put, but for now, because we already defined the user schema, let us just stick with the email and password. Now, the next step is we are checking if you are signing up with a user with an email that is already existing. Let us check. If it is the case, we say user already exists. So for you to do that, we come and say exists. Just create a variable called exist. Then say, wait for us to check. Hold on. Let us check if you are there. So user dot find one. So you find one. Not by ID, find one. So you're finding by what? You're finding, let me backtrack a bit. You're finding via email because email is for uniqueness. That is what we said already. You can see here. Unique is the email. So that is the best way to search. Otherwise, we will be saying find by ID. So find one. If the user exists, so just put an exclamation and say exists. What are you supposed to do? Return error 400. res dot status. You throw 400 there. Then you come and say JSON. It's wrong. Am I hungry? Am I that hungry till I'm typing other things? Then you can just throw a message. Say just user already exists. Simple. You're done. You're done with that. Very simple. Loud and clear. So that's the first check. Get. Now, if the user doesn't exist, we proceed and say, okay, you see the password that you're giving us. Let us first of all hash it before we save it. So let us hash it. So you come and say hashed. And then wait for us to hash it. Please wait. Wait in the line for us to hash it for you. Dot hash. We're taking the password. 10 characters appended to it. So 10. And then we come and say, now that we have hashed everything, let us now save everything and create everything to the database and go. So for you to do that, remember, hash before saving. So this is the part where we save to the database. So we come and say, wait for us to save in the database. And then come and say user.create. And then we come and say email. That is what we are pushing to the database. And this password is already tagged as hashed. That is what you can say. We are done with that. Are you seeing how the logic is flowing? Understand how the logics are flowing, by the way. Understand them as we flow. It's going to be very important for you. Now, we progress and say, now, if everything is already there, let us now put a rubber stamp and say, now, everything is in a database. Let us now put a token to protect everything. Now, const token, we already talked about this in the morning. So if you're not there in the morning, some of the concepts are going to pass you because you need to go in the class in the morning and see some code snippets that you're going to see they are matching here now. So we come and say GWT. The reason why I did code snippets in the morning so that you should not be asking me some of the things because you already know they exist there. So you've already seen how they work. So we come here and sign. So we have JWT verify, JWT sign, and everything. And even we have the one for decoding. You see? Now, we have to check that so we can come and say, for us to sign it, we attach the exact same thing that I said in the morning, underscore ID. So this underscore ID is the one that you normally see here. You're saying the ID that you're taking, let us create it around this, right? That is what we want to do. Then you come and say role. So for role, it's going to be a bit different. What am I missing out here? It is dot. It is not exclamation, it is dot. Now for the role, you're taking the user dot role. Why? If I click on this, it is going to take me directly here. You see? If you want to know that you're doing the correct thing, when you control click, it is going to take you if it exists there. If I say roles, you're going to see nothing happen. So we have an issue. So property roles may not exist on the type of document that you're creating. So such that you have to do a quick fix. You see? Whenever I click it, nothing happens. So it has to be role. Then you can see no issue. You see? So for the ID, that one you're going to see it is being attached. It is not created, but is normally created automatically. Now let us proceed. So after doing that, we are supposed to attach that using our environment variable, JWT secret. You're done with that. Then we respond to React. Now this is the response that we're giving to React token. You're done. We are 1 hour and we have done so much, by the way. So let us now continue. That is done. See some questions as we move along. I believe it should be exists, not exists. No, it is okay. By the way, this is for checking. Line 11 is saying if it doesn't exist, that is what you're saying. If it doesn't exist, this already exists. So it is okay here. I'm putting this one to negate. This one is going to check if it exists. This one is going to say if it doesn't exist. If you have not, you're not so sure about the only if you're correct. Thank you for that, sir. The condition to check the exist. This one is a condition to check if it doesn't exist, not if it exists. If it exists, this is line 10. If it doesn't, it is line 11. Then you give a message. Are you seeing where I'm going? On 11, we are supposed to use JSON or send. Are you sure about that? It is JSON. It is JSON, not send. It is JSON. Because it is directly coming to the database, so it is going to be packaged in a JSON way. Check it live. Line 11 is okay, by the way. Line 11 is so much okay. I've already explained that. What about login? I'm going to do login right now. Please stop asking. Those having Q&As, don't take advantage when I'm reading. What is exports.signup? Yeah, this is the shortcut. Instead of exporting them at the end of the day here, down here, I just say export, export. So I'm going to be lifting that and putting it out there. So instead of saying const, sign up, and then come down here and export, just say export. One of the shortcuts. Let me disable. People are taking advantage. Okay. After you're saved, after user is saved to have a success message. That one, some things you don't have to put them out there. You don't have to put out there. That's what we are not doing. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a lot of console logs, a lot of things on the browser. We are going to have a toast. We are going to have a toast, not a toast of cheers. No, no, no. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to have a toast on the UI, whereby if it is success, you're going to have that toast. So it's going to be related using the state hooks. Somebody saying, then why not use user doesn't exist? User already exists. Have you ever seen that we are not checking? Okay, I don't know how to put this out. Or I might be wrong. Hold on. You see, I did this in the morning and I'm here confusing myself. I guess you people are right. I need to slap myself. Let me slap let me slap myself. Yeah, that I've just slapped myself because I've seen the logical error that I've just made using even the status code. I just saw it here. This one is going to check if they already exist. Thank you for that. I feel so dumb right now. Wow. I have so people were very sharp. Wow. Wow. You guys are amazing. I guess it's the I've not eaten lunch or what. Okay. Yeah, same thing. Thank you, Keith. Wow, I feel so dumb. But anyway, let us proceed. Mm, Now let us proceed. Now let us do the login. Then I'm going to explain something that is very much important. Thank you for that. I guess I'm supposed to do that one in the second leg. Now login, endpoint, logic. Now same thing, exports. A very good shortcut, login. Then you're going to say async uh, text to. Taking two, we are requiring what from the user? Requiring the email, requiring the password from the user. So that is what we call request body, right? And then we can say, let us now check if they exist. Because when you sign up, I guess now I see where my mind was. Now, if they exist, this is where now you are supposed to negate, right? So we come and say const user. We are checking the user. You see this user that we're talking about? We come and use it here. So user, come and say await user dot find one. So we are finding by what? Email. Uh-huh. We have an issue. Okay, there. Okay. So this is what you are going to say now, user, if they don't exist. If they don't exist, if after registration, if they doesn't exist, come and say return. Return what? So return with the status code of 44 now. Yeah, this is where I was messing up. Thank you for seeing that. You guys are amazing. I guess we should skip the class for debugging, testing and debugging because you people are already amazing. I don't know. But anyway, let us proceed. So we can come and just throw a message. User doesn't exist. Get out of here, man. User not found. Yeah. Now we are done with that. Let us do if they exist. So we have to match the password that we have with the password that the user is given. So we have to match the password that we have currently. The password that the user is giving is here via the request body. Then we are going to match with the user dot password. So we come and say asynchronous operation because it has to happen outside. Bcrypt. Bcrypt is there to compare. So compares what? Compares the password that the user is giving. This is the password that the user is giving versus the password that we already have. Dot password. So this one is the one that the database has. If they match, it goes successfully. If it doesn't match, so what if it doesn't match? If it doesn't match, what are you supposed to do? Just the same way. Uh, Return status is a 401 status code. Go and study these status codes. Don't cram them, just study them, understand how they work, the categories. You're going to be in a safer zone, by the way. So message can come and say Normally is normally incorrect. Incorrect password. Because if they don't match, it is an incorrect password. So we are done with that. Now, I want to bring something that somebody is going to contest with me, but don't worry. I'm going to explain why. This first one, the JWT that you are seeing here, I'm going to do the same thing here. Let me just copy. And then I'm going to explain why. They are in both. Somebody contested in the morning, but I let it slide. Now, for now, the reason why you're seeing here, why JWT is being returned in both sign up and login. So let us start with the sign up. So after a new user signs up, they automatically do what? Log in. They are automatically logged in. Like when you sign up, you're automatically logged in. So returning a JWT immediately allows the front end to bypass the second call to log in. Like instead of signing up, then being taken directly to log in, for you to log in again with the same credential, that is dumb. It is bad for user experience, for UX. Now, JWT is being returned immediately so that you can be able to bypass this way. So this one is going to like saves one network round trip and improve the user experience, remember. So that's why you are seeing that in the login. So for the first time user, you're going to be signed up and logged in immediately using the JWT. Now, this one is obvious. This one is obvious. So after credentials are verified, here, JWT is returned to initiate a session. This one is obvious. Having JWT in the login is obvious, but for this one, I've already told you, it avoids a very bad UX, whereby you have to sign up, then come and log in again for you to be authenticated via JWT. I guess, I don't remember who asked the question, but now you have the answer, right? So it is good for UX. It is good for UX. Right now, I've not added here. I can come here and add expire. How I want it to expire, by the way. I can come here, but then I can come here and say, let us have the expire. So for the expire, I can come and say expire. It normally expires. Expires in, then you can put 1H or even 7D. So 1H is 1 hour. 7D, 7 days. So you can do that, by the way. So let me just copy this. Then we put a 1 hour. So it can take only 1 hour. After 1 hour, it expires. That is what I didn't explain in the morning. Now we are done with that. You know, Decrypt Ashes, JWT signs. Let us handle the, what do you call? Because we are still at authentication. Let us just complete the authentication, then we can come to the tasks. So still on authentication, let us create a middleware folder. A middleware folder. Within the middleware folder, we can come and say auth.js. So this is when we are going to put our security. Our security majorly, let's copy this guy here. Our security majorly is going to, what we are going to do here is two things. We are going to protect our routes and we are going to do authentication and authorization. We are going to say, these are the two security officers who are going to make sure that if you're not authorized to access something, you're not authorized. We have another officer who says that we are protecting this line. You're not supposed to go beyond here unless you have the proper credentials. So we are going to say this one, the first one is going to check. So checks token and sets, consent sets. Let me just put it this way, require user, request user. So if the token is not there, you're going to be told now, we require the token. Otherwise, just proceed. And then you're going to see how to decode and so on. Now, it's a middleware, remember? So it takes how many things? Three parameters. So protects, let us call it protect. I guess I'm hungry. So we come and say it takes three, request, response, and next. Right? Now we can come and say const. We are requiring something from the header, and I already told you how this, I already told you what this is, but don't worry, I'm going to do it in a very good way this time so that you can be able to understand. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break down so that you can be able to understand it. Now, we come and say const auth, then you can say headers dot authorization, right? So I'm declaring it so that I can be able to shorten it when I come back here down. So I can just come and say, so if we can just check if the if you're not authorized, or we can just say something like we want to extract the authorization header from the incoming request that is coming from the user, right? We are going to extract the authorization. Let me put my phone in a do not disturb mode because people are starting to disturb me. Yep, thank you. Now, we want to extract that, and then from there, we can be able to check if the header is missing. So we're going to check if the header is missing or not in the format of the bearer token. I already explained that in the morning. So if it is invalid, you're going to throw maybe error 41, for which means unauthorized. And then from there, we are going to extract the token, just the token from the header itself, from the split, like from the string itself, which is bearer token, just the header itself. And then we are going to do decoding. In this decoding way, we are going to do, which is going to be a process of verification of the token using the server secret. Of course, we have to decode using the GWT secret. Then, of course, if it is valid, we decode. The decoded variable that we are going to have there will contain the token payload itself, which is, you can say ID and role, so that we can pass it to the next step using the next parameter. Now, let us jump on this thing and see. So remember, here we want to extract. So this first part, it will block the unauthenticated users from accessing protected routes. So we have a wall, and then you can come here now, I come and say auth. But for this auth, we can come and say for this auth, I've already explained what it means. So this one is going to extract the authorization header from the incoming request. So how do you do that? So the auth itself, or you can say checking if the auth is not in this format. So starts with, so you have that thing that is saying starts with, so starts with what? We are saying that it starts with the bearer. And then you put a space. Bearer, then you put a space. Don't leave it at that. This is now BitLawyers. When you do something like this, you just do it once, then you can be able to import in all the projects that you're doing, by the way, because these are just security layers. Yeah, unless we want to improve them for more security. So if that is the so-called case, I'm used to writing this thing in a straight line, by the way, instead of, it normally saves you a lot of spaces. If this is the case, so if the authorization that is being given is not this authorization, or is not the authorization that starts with this one. So if this is the token, if you're not giving the token that matches this one, or the token that has this format, just return this one, which is no token provided. Or you can just say no token, by the way. That is status for one. For one. So this auth is for the token. This one is going to extract the token, authorization token. If the token is not provided, or the token that starts with the bearer, you see bearer space token, then just return this message, and then have a JSON message, which is message no token. given. Then you're done with that. Now let us go for the next one, which is going to help us essentially check if the header is missing or not in the format that is supposed to be. So the format that you're talking about here is bearer space token. This is the format that you're talking about. So if the header is missing or it is not in this format, that is what we want to do now. Now, for us to achieve something like that, come and say token auth dot split. So split, what are you splitting? So you're splitting if it space, but we are targeting specifically what? The token. So when you have something like this, bearer token, these are two parts. This is index 1, index 2. So index 1 is normally 0, index 2 is normally 1. So we're targeting this one in this case, by the way. So it's going to be bearer, then you put a space between this and this. If it is not that case. Let's now do a try catch to make sure that this is much possible. Come and say try catch. It is important from time to time to put a try catch for error handling. It's very important. So let us now do a decoding. So const decode. Because the token that is given, we want from there to be able to just break it down and verify if everything is okay. So JWT verify. Okay. Then process. For you to decode, you need because when you are doing encoding, you are using JWT secrets. So that's the same thing that you want to use here. JWT secret. And then from there, remember we said we are checking for the token and then setting, and then you're going to set the request status, the request for the user. So request, we are attaching our decoded token to our user. So we are attaching it like slapping it, attaching our user to the token, like matching them to that. So we come and set the decoded. So basically, what you're trying to say here is just two things, the ID and the role. That is what you're talking about, essentially. That is what we are talking about. Like if this decoded is valid, if everything is valid, decoded will contain the token payload. This token payload is going to contain two things, the ID and the role. The ID is to make the user unique, and the role is to separate the permissions. It can be a developer or admin. For the email, it's just for uniqueness, right? So after that, we save the decoded user info. This one is the decoded user info. We save it inside where? Because what you are seeing, let me just show you the importance of what is happening here for your understanding. The equal sign that you're seeing here is called an assignment operator. You are assigning decoded to the user. You are assigning the decoded info to the user. So, like into the user, so downstream middleware and routes handlers can access it. Like from now then, we can be able to access it. Now, how do you make sure that happens? We just come and say next. Yeah, just say next so that you can allow other people to access it. That is how you can be able to do it. Now, if anything happens, let us just throw an error. Return res dot status 43. Do you know what status 43 is? Forbidden. Because if you're not authorized, if you're not authenticated, you're forbidden from entering. I'm just trying to give you other things for those people who don't understand. Now, we proceed and say message invalid token. You're done. Yeah, we are done. That is now protect. Now, whenever I come and take this one and put it inside a route, it's going to be protected. Unless you're authenticated, scrutinized, you're not going to access that route. Now, how about if you access that route and you're not authorized, like you're not the personnel who is authorized? So we come here and say check Text role. So for us to achieve that, very simple by the exports dot authorize. So we have protect and we have authorize, right? So here, uh, anyway, let us just proceed. We are going to see if you have errors. Of course, we take roles. So roles is from the user or the thing that we have for enumeration. So from here, okay, we are good. So we can come and say return. So what are we returning here? We can say request and then res. We submit the way, of course. It has to take 3 parameters. So we're checking here, basically just if the rows that you are trying to include are not inside the rows that we have. Remember the enumeration that we did here, the enum, such that if you give something that is not here, we are going to have a problem with that. So we are saying if the rows you're providing are not included, so we come and say includes. Includes what? Request dot user dot role. And if you want to just verify that, you can just come and just click there. Don't know why it is not, but request dot user, which is here, dot role. You're targeting that. If is that what you're providing is not among what we have, please return rs with status code. It is important to give status code such that that is just enough. When you see that status code, you just know that is enough. So let us give a forbidden message, which is status 403. You are forbidden from entering because don't have the proper credentials, especially for the role. So you come and say message, come and say forbidden, and say forbidden from or forbidden. Then, of course, it's a middleware. You say just next, pass it to the next person, to the next. We are done, people. We are done. We are done. We are done. We are done with that. We are done. Simple. You see, when you focus on these things, they tend to become very easy. So this middleware sits between the request and the final route. This one is the middleware. That's not why it is called middleware. Sits between the request and the final route. So the protect method that you're seeing there makes sure only logged in users can access the routes. The authorize method that you're seeing there checks that users role, for example, admin are allowed. So only 2 user roles that we have, developer and admin. If you give student, forbidden. If you give teacher, forbidden. If you give instructor, forbidden. If you give developer, good. If you give developers, forbidden. You see? Now, we are done with the authentication. Let us go now for the task. So we come to the task controller. You people are digesting these things. Wait. It's coming in hot. Yeah, this seems so easy, by the way. Seems so easy when I break it down that way. Now, let us go to the task controller. So the task controller.js. So imagine next time you want to do your project, there's no need of just creating a new middleware. Just copy this, put it inside your code. Just make sure you have it correct for the everything that you're importing here. Example, this one. You make sure you have this one. Then everything goes well. So it allows you to reuse your code base over and over again. That's why your first project you're going to take so long to complete as compared to your 5th project. Because your 5th project, you just keep reusing what you are reusing, right? You keep reusing what you are reusing. At some point, you're going to create your own internal tools. For me, I've been creating internal tools to help me just do work faster. For example, the Git talk, I just don't want to jump over and over again trying to find these commands. I tend to forget I'm a human being. So I create a tool that is going to help me. So when you're going to an interview, you're asked, what is the kind of some problem that we encountered and how did you solve it? For example, I can say, you see, there's a lot of Git commands that are out here, debugging and everything, just to try to push and do CI/CD. So for me, we came up with a tool to make sure that I solve that. So it is a way to be able to contrast, to make sure that these commands are well nailed down, drilled down, so that next time I can just pass through them faster. They say, okay, you are a problem solver. That's how you get a job, by the way, when you solve your own problems. Don't go and solve problems for people in the village. Solve your own problems at work. Then they are going to say, okay, if you can be able to solve your own problems without even being paid, now you're the one person that we can take for a job. ESJS, no problem. If you're using ESJS, okay, somebody saying ESJS. Hey, can you see ESJS? What if I'm using ESJS? Do you mean a place like this one? Just use the methods like export, not exports. Just use export dot protect, not exports. That's the simplest answer that I can provide. Uh, Now, somebody saying on the sign up, is it possible to put re-enter password? You can do that on the UI, not on the backend. It's more so on the UI. And can there be also the required to enable the users to enter the mass field? From the word go, we say that it is required. Then the other thing you can put on the front end. On the UI, that's where you restrict people. Make sure that they enter the correct information. You're going to see that in the logics in JavaScript. Now, let us proceed. Task controller. Remember, I told you this is where the real logic is being written. But the auth controller is going to be a bit different from the task controller because the task controller is going to follow the CRUD operations. The auth controller follows the logical or endpoint operation way to just post on the database. This one is going to follow a different route. So const task require, let me zoom in, require what? 2 steps, models, task, finished. Now we come and say we start with the post. So the post is going to be what? So we just provide an endpoint which is around tasks. So we want to post our tasks. So we come and say just exports dot create task, right? Then we come and say asynchronous operation. Don't worry, we are going to see how routes, because right now you're not seeing post, get. No, don't worry. That's not our logic. When you create the routes folder, you're going to see all of that. So we come and say synchronous operation or sync, taking two. Sometimes you just type these things without even looking. That's why I make so much mistakes. So you come and say, for you to create a task, sometimes you just make sure, not even sometimes, always, trying to visualize the code. What is the code going to do as you type? It allows you to actually use the correct thing. So when you want to create a task, you're supposed to wait for the task to be created in the database. So you call the task schema, then, or the document, then you come and say, for us to create the task, we want to take everything from the user. So remember, when you come to the task, this is everything from the user. Title, description, that is what you're taking. And of course, this one completed is automatically there. So how do you make sure that everything is there? So we use something called a spread operator, which is going to copy paste everything from the user, request, body. So the spread operators, the 3 ellipses that you're seeing there, the ellipses, then you're going to say the task is being owned by who. So you have to put the task ownership. So it is not user, it is user, not body, but ID. So the task, you're copying everything that the user is giving from the front end. After copying them, you say it is being owned by the so-and-so user. So task ownership, and then from there, just return everything. That's how you create. So you create everything. When you just say request copy body, this one is going to copy everything. Then you give back everything to the React, saying that we have everything in place. We are done with that, by the way. Are you seeing how it easy? How it is easy? So we go for the get API tasks. So let's say you want to fetch your own task, your own tasks. So how do you make sure that you fetch your own tasks? So let us have an endpoint which is API tasks.me, like they belong to me alone. So let me explain. The admin is going to be the one accessing all the tasks. But you yourself, you're going to be seeing your own tasks. That is what I want to create around here. So understand that. So for you to see your own tasks that you have created, you can come and say get my tasks. Then you can say, of course, the usual async taking to. So we come and say, because we need all the tasks, so we have to fetch from the database. An asynchronous operation has to happen. We find by what? So just say find, because there are so many tasks. So if you want to fetch so many tasks, you just say find. If you still remember what I said. So we find by the ownership, like you want to find all the tasks that a certain user owns, because that is what you're looking for, dot user dot ID. Remember the ID is here is the email, by the way. Like, okay, the ID, the uniqueness of the user is the email that we talked about. But in this case, for the uniqueness is the email, but the ownership, what we talked about the ownership, you can just come here and say, this is what we talk about the ownership. We are targeting the object ID that is automatically created inside the MongoDB when you create a project, right? Now let us proceed. So after doing that, you're done with the logic, by the way. Don't even stress. You're done. So you're going to fetch individual tasks. So get my tasks. Then when you're done with that, we go to the next one, which is get all the tasks now, generally, all the tasks that we have. It's not a must every time that you create, post, get, update, delete. No, no, no. Sometimes you don't need other endpoint, other REST API, what do you call REST API methods? No. Tasks slash all. This one is going to be fetch all the tasks. So dot get all tasks. The usual. So we come and say const tasks. We wait for them to be found. So we find all the tasks. But now we want to populate the owner and the task. The owner and the task. That is what we want to do. Like we want, Angela has 5 tasks. So Angela and the task that she has. We have Isaac has this. Here is Isaac and all the tasks that he has. So we come and say populate. So we are populating by what? So owner and then email. That is what I can say. But we are populating the owner. What am I writing by there? You see, I've been writing something weird here. This is not the owner, by the way, owner. It is that way. Okay. Is it my eyes or what? No, I come and say, I've made a mistake here, but then I don't know if I'm sleeping or what. I don't know if I'm sleeping or what, but let me just re-explain. Of course, we know this. We all know this. This is okay. The mistake that I made here with honor. Let me see if it is global. Okay, you don't have any other place talking about that. Now, let me explain what this is because I think I've made a mistake here by explaining something that doesn't exist. Now, what you're seeing here, populate honor email. This one is going to join the user model and select only the email field of the task owner. So among the ownership, you're going to only select this one. So this is helpful. Why? Because it shows who created each task without returning a full user data. So of course, I was right, but I was explaining it in a very weird way. For example, I don't want the password to be displayed. That is what I'm avoiding. Instead of saying, this task has been created by Angela, then you go and have Angela's email, Angela's password there. No, 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 no. You put the ownership of the task according to the email. So without returning full user data, like even the password. That is what we are trying to avoid. So I wanted to explain that really, really well so that you can be able to see and get that point. Now we are done with the controller, the real logic. Let us now go to the next step, which is we can say, let us just commit this one as well. But we're going to commit later on. Okay. I was just trying to exercise an example there. So let us do something which is the routes now. The routes. So how do you work with the routes? How do you work with the routes? Now to work with the route is very easy. We can come and say we need two routes. So the authentication routes. Routes.js. Somebody told me that to disable this thing, let me just disable them. People are overusing it. Now, so the routes, let us have two routes. We are going to have the auth routes and also the task route. So for the auth routes, very simple. So we need to use the router. So for us to use the router, we need to actually import it, express, and then we are taking it from the controller direct, right? So const, and just come and say sign up. Then you come and say login. From correct, then you can come and say require. So where are they coming from? Controllers, not config controllers. Is wrong. Controllers is coming from the auth controller, right? And then let us now create the task route, like create the router from the express router method. So express dot router, we are done. So we can able now to utilize this particular thing here. So this is how you do it, but it's very simple. So for sign up, you post data via sign up. And what do we need in sign up? Just come and say sign up. Just like that, we are done. When you go here, you're going to see how it flows, by the way. Then you're done with that. So for us to maybe make sure you complete that, you just come and say sign up. You just import it directly from the imports. You're done with that. We go to the another one, which is post. For you to log in, you post. You don't get. You log in by putting data there. So log in. You're done with that. Then you can come now and export module dot exports. So you're exporting what? Just export the router. You're done. Yeah, that is done. That is done. Loud and clear, that is done. Let's go for the task routes. JS. Same case, same case. This one is going to be same case. Just copy this, put it there. We come and say, what do we have for the task route? We have create task, get my task, blah, blah, blah. So we come and say create task, get my task, I guess, get my tasks, and then get all tasks. Tasks, confirm, yeah, that is the case. So having all of those, we are going to say require. I've not even handled the clerk, by the way. I want to go fast. I'm spending a lot of time now. I don't know why. Allow me to fly. Please allow me to fly. Otherwise, the time is not going to be on our side, by the way. Now remember how we did protection. So we have to import the middlewares. So protect. And also we have authorize. Those two, they are coming from where? Hey, I'm spending a lot of time in the backend, almost 2 hours. I guess we need even 4 hours for this class. Auth, yeah. And of course, link this guy. Router dot post. You can only create data by posting. And then you can say, let us protect this route. Like you cannot create a task if you have not logged in. Yeah, that's how you do it, by the way. And then you come and say router dot, let us fetch the tasks. So we are fetching personal task, which is .me/me. We have to protect this route. Unless you're logged in, you cannot get your tasks. And then we do another one, which is who can access all the tasks. This is what I was talking about. Router dot get, and then you come and say /all. So who can access it? First of all, you have to be authenticated, but also you have to be authorized. So authorized, but in which category? Admin. So only admins can be able to access this route, which is get all tasks. Put it together. Now we export everything. Allow me to fly now, because I think I'm winding up on the just one file, then you can go into the UI. The UI, I'm going to really fly because it's something that is still fresh in your brain. The backend is done. Now let us, to conclude the backend, we need one more file, which is server.js. So this one is the final one. So we start by require for the .env. So this one is for the config. Yeah. And then you go for the express. Right now, I feel like when you're in a class and the teacher wants to check the assignment out and is near you, you get the pressure. That is what I feel right now. Okay. Pressure is getting worse. Now, what am I forgetting? You see, this is the pressure that I don't want. Just copy as we move along. Okay, I've done that. Just copy as we move along. Then we need the post. Require course. So this is now the main file. Remember, we had connected BB. We now bring all of them together in one file. Require, it's coming from where? Config/db, yeah. Now we are done with that. So let us create an app, Express. Let us create an app which is called Express. Put our database connection there. And then what else? Our middlewares, just the normal middlewares first, the usual one. Use, course. Then for the JSON, express.json. We're done with that. Wow. Let us now put our API endpoints. So we start with the routes. Start with the routes for the authentication. So that is going to be /API/auth. And then you don't need to protect because they are already there. So require, they're coming from where? /routes/auth. You're done with that. Then app.use. It seems so easy, right? So /API/tasks. And then you can come and say require /routes. slash task routes. We are done with that. And then you conclude everything now by bringing the host, port. So we say the port that we're using here, dot env dot port, or if it doesn't work, we just do the fallback. I don't like the fallbacks, but it works. Dot listen. Oh, we have not done the front end. Wait, but we are going to deliver. If I copy paste the code, don't judge me. Don't judge me. So console log. Console.log. I have that pressure that I've not done my assignment. Now the teacher is coming to check if I've done it. And I have not done it. So on HTTP localhost, talking about port what? Port 5000, but if it doesn't work, it is going to work regardless. We are done. So you can just come and fire up. I'll spend a lot of time to explain some concepts there that people didn't understand. But because we are dealing with PNPM, just come and configure everything here. Yeah, just come and configure everything here and say, whenever I say npm run dev, what I'm going to be calling is pnpm nodemon. That is what I'll be calling. Whenever I say pnpm run dev, it's going to give you a success. Okay, we have an issue. Cannot find which module. Yeah, it is not running in our file. It's not cannot. We have supposed to change it to server.js. There we go. Everything is okay. At the nodemon crashed because of what? Because we didn't include what? This and this. Yeah, we need to include the unified topology and the URI, by the way. So where it is? Where is it? Here it is. It is normally here. So it is unif. It's normally what? Now, what is wrong with this thing? It's normally unified topology and what we call unified topology and URL parser. I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think it is like, okay, I think it is normally used. I was trying to remember new URL parser. Yeah, I think this is it. True. And then use unified topology. I was trying to break a record of doing a full project in 1 hour, but if I was myself, it would be done. Right now, I'll be completing topology, low G. True. That one should suffice. Now let us run it again. Now tell me why. Okay, we have another issue. Unified topology URL parser. Mongo URI. Okay, it is okay, it's okay. Now, why are the issues? So make sure the first parameter. What the hell? Make sure the first parameter, blah, blah, blah. You see, I was doing this thing in the rush, but I'm not saying, let us see people who have fixes here. Thank you so much, Sacred. Somebody saying, mhm. I've done everything correctly. Okay. Oh, where am I missing the point? Yeah, only if it is clark.com. Why am I missing the point? Because I'm very sure it is here. Log.listen port, console log. I wrote this thing in a hurry. Yeah, local. I wrote local, not local. You see, my head. I wrote localhost. Okay, another error. Okay, we are solving one at a time. We are solving one at a time now. Experts, where are you? Require.env config. Oh, here is the issue. Mhm. Yep, I believe, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that there was the issue. So we had so many issues, so I had to correct one by one. Yeah, there you are. Wow. Okay. So that is the UI. So let us push it. That is the backend. So we can come and say status, come and commit to say backend, fully done. Then you can push. There you go. Others, thank you for debugging with me. It's normally a process now. Let's go for the front end. I want to fly. My people, I want to fly on the front end. Then I'm going to touch on a few issues on connection. So allow me just to fly. Then when it comes to touching on, I'm going to insist on a few issues as we connect. Yeah. So I'm not going to lose you, but everything that I've done in React last week, that's okay. But the most important part that I know you want me to touch on is how does front end connect to the back end? That is what you want to crucify me with. But I'm ahead of time. So this is what we do. Let us zoom in. So we come and say pnpm create bytes at latest. We already inside the client, right? So we already have client. So let us just cd client. So pnpm create bytes at latest. Because it's the client, we put period. Period means that in the current directory. You say, instead of choosing, you just say template. The one that we are talking about is React. Simple. You're done. So npm install, follow the instructions as we are told there. We don't want to run. So you see, I don't have to install other things, but I'm going to install regardless. There you go. So that is done. When you go here, let me just close everything. There, this is where we will be playing now from now. So from here, I want to install a couple of things. shardcn and everything just so that we can get started. So let me start with the dependencies. So pnpm add. I want to use the icons from React. So we have something called React. It's normally React icons / React. You're going to see the functionality of that. Axios, this is the most important tool that you're going to make sure that the backend is connected to the front end. React DOM router, so React router DOM, because we are going to perform a couple of what we call, the thing is losing me, a couple of theming. We want to use themes. We want to change theme, dark theme, light theme. Very special class now. So we install what we need to install. Issue there. It is not React icons, it is hero icons. Why is my head now? Forgive me. It is hero icons. Hero icons. Good. Now, after that, we need to work with the shared CN. So PNPM is normally, when using PNPM, we use DLX. So we need to install shared CN, the first place, or we can just say initialize. If you don't know, you can just go and check shared CN UI. You're going to see how. So when you say get started, we choose Vite. This is how we do it. So when you choose PNPM, that's how we do it. Forget about that. Forget about that. The one that I'm targeting, here it is. Copy. Just copy it and come and paste it right here. After that, I need to add the button, card input, and so on. So many things that I want to add. So I have issues with Tailwind. Okay, let us follow what Tailwind says. This is exactly how I wanted it, by the way. You see, even ShadCN, they're using Tailwind version 4. ShadCN, they're using Tailwind version 4. This is how they do it in Tailwind version 4. Just two things, you're done. So let us just follow what it does. By the way, it's a good tutorial. Even Tailwind themselves, they have not done that. So we add this, and then after that, just copy this and go where? Go to index.css in the SRC, delete everything, and then put it there. We don't need this guy. Yeah, there you are. Sorry for me going faster, but that is not the important part. Then we need this guy, tsconfig.json. Do you really need it? Let me see. So let us see if you don't have tsconfig. This is for TypeScript. I want for JavaScript. Did they do something like this? Let me come and check. Don't know if I can be able to get it. It is inside week what? Week 3 catch up. Where's that particular file? Tailwind config. We also need that. I guess we just need this guy. Copy. Okay, we cannot copy. Trying to bypass here something, but I'm not able to. Anyway, let us proceed. We also just need which guy? I'm very confused here, by the way. So for the ES config, we don't have. Let us see what we have. We don't have any. So we need to create one. For the Tailwind, no need. So when you go to the Tailwind, by the way, Tailwind version 4, they have done it differently. So when you follow along, this is what I was talking about. So come and copy. We are configuring Tailwind at the same time we are configuring ShadCN. ShadCN cannot work without Tailwind. It is that dependent. Then put a comma, then snap it there. That we have done. What else are we missing? There's a certain file that we are missing that I'm trying to avoid so much from creating it. Tailwind, that's not what we were talking about. Let us go to week 2 catch up. It is not there. Anyway, forget about it, man. Forget about it. It's not that important. What are these people talking about? Yeah, JS config. Thank you so much, Oliver. That is the file that I was looking for, but I was not finding it. Okay, let me ask ChatGPT to give me what it needs to give me. Thank you, Samuel. This way you don't have time. So, jsconfig.json, that is the kind of file that I was looking for to avoid errors. This is just to avoid errors. I'm using ChatGPT directly. Then right here, we also need to import something called path. Let me see, let me see. You see, I want to use the alias way. That's why. One, path. Then I come and say resolve. What are we resolving, by the way? Resolve alias. Then whenever I say at, I want the path dot resolve. They normally say underscore underscore dir name. Yeah. Okay, dot cram. You're just going to copy it later. Dot slash src. Think you're done. This thing can cook you. Anyway, let us proceed. Let's proceed. Now, our components is going to be well. So, for example, for now, let me just go and create components. But before that, I don't need to do that because I've not added what I'm supposed to add. I've not initialized this guy. So initializing, yeah, there you are. We're talking about neutral. So it's targeting directly index.css. That's what we will be using. We are done. Now, we are talking about PNPM. PNPM add what? We are adding a couple of things. So PNPM DLX, shard cn at latest. We want to add what? So we want to add the following. We want to add the button. We want to add the card. We want to add the input. We want to add the dialog for dialog. We want to add the form. We want to add the toast. Though this one was not working, but we want to add the drop down as well. Drop down menu, and we want to add the avatar. So the toast component is deprecated. So add Sona. Good. That is what it told me last time. Sona. So it's going to add everything. It's going to create a components folder and then create a UI folder within there. So this is what has been created. You can able to come and see components. Then the UI has everything that we want now. So from there, we can now roll on now because we have this. So just we need to target the task card. So we need to create the task card. Task card .jsx. Yeah, right. We need to create another file which is called task dialog.jsx. We need to create navbar.jsx. We need to create theme. You see theme toggle.jsx. That's why we want to change themes. So we are done. Remember, this one is inside. Everything under the UI, don't touch. Touch everything outside. Now, let us see how we can able to come up. Now we are done with the components, right? But we're not done yet. So let us create something like pages. Pages, this pages is going to have a couple of things. Number one, login.gsx is going to have signup.gsx is going to have dashboard.gsx. Great. Now, having that in mind, we can now have services. Now, the services is the most important part that I want you people to understand. It is going to help you. So services, this is where the backend meets the front end. We come and say api.js. Just create a file called api.js. And then we are not done. We can have the utilities, like the utils, how we can be able to protect our routes. For example, come and say utils. Inside there, we come and say protected route.jsx. Protected spelling. There you go. We are done. By then we are done creating files now. Let's now get to serious business. Now, remember the file that I told you, we are going to start with there because we have just done the backend. So let us now connect. So remember the Axios? Have we imported the Axios yet? Let me see, because my mind is running so much fast. Yeah, we have Axios. Now, remember the Axios, so Axios from Axios. So this is where we are going now to make sure that our API, backend API works on the front end, right? So remember what we have here in common. Let me just show you. Go back to the server. I need you to go to the server.js. What do we have here in common? We have /API, which is the common one, /API. So that is what we are going to use, by the way. So we come and say const API. So API, it is being called directly from Axios. You're creating a connection. So this connection, you can say we have base URL. So the base URL that we're talking about here is what? It is here. Just come and copy there, but it's /API. So that is our backend. We have already called our API, established the connection. Now, after that, let us now intercept. We want to attach the WT automatically such that any for one or for three handling can be added to the response interceptor later. So we let us create an interceptor so that this request can be able to be added automatically. So we come and say dot interceptor. You can see we have post guest. We are talking about Axios. There's something called interceptor in Axios dot request, and then we come and say dot use. So this one is going to make sure that we attach JWT automatically. You see, because that is what is basing in terms of backend and front-end authentication. Now, we can say CFG. Other commands don't ask me, just browse. You come and say others, I'm just formulating using my own words. So you come and say const token. So remember, I told you in the morning that this token, they are normally saved in the local storage in the browser, right? So we need to fetch them. So local storage in the browser. So we need to fetch them. So get item. Then what are we getting specifically from the local storage? The token. So after doing that, what will proceed is we have to check something. We have to do checks, conditional checks. So token. So if the token, so CFG dot headers dot authorization. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because last time we were talking about request dot headers dot authorization, but now you're seeing how Axios is able to bridge the gap. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? So that is what we are using here. Now we come and say it has to match. So we have to take the bearer token and put it there. So the bearer token we already have. So we come and say bearer space So the template literals, okay, just like that. Then we return the CFG. CFG is just a variable or a parameter, you can say. It's not something that you're supposed to apply. Oh, now it's CFG. No, no, it's not a gas. It's just a parameter that we're using. So when you're done, export default API. Whenever I call the API, now we have established the relationship between the backend and the front end. But we have an issue here. This is not supposed to be here. I'm used to closing things. Now, the backend and the front end are now communicating. Let us now establish a theme. So when you come to the components, we want to create the navbar and the theme toggle. So we come and create the theme toggle. So here, we are going to do a couple of things. So just allow me to flow. Or, yeah, let me just flow. So we want to have the moon icon and the sign icon. So where are we getting these icons? From the hero icons that we have installed. So we want the moon icon. For example, just a good example to show you, just this is how we do it, by the way. We have these people done theirs. Yeah, here, there. Down here, you can see we have the moon icon, the sun icon, so that you can be able to choose. And this one is the system default, the one that is there for the computer. But for us, we just need to. So moon icon, and then we need the sun icon. But it's not coming from Lucid React. Don't know why it is bringing Lucid here. So we are coming from hero icon Reacts, but specifically we are targeting from my nodes 24 solid certain shape. Now we are done with that. So we import the button from where? We're importing the button from the components. So how do you fetch the components? This is not the way. Just come and say slash. Then you can come and choose component slash UI slash, you come and choose button. That's why we created the path there back then. Now let us do the thing that we normally do, which is the use effect and the use state. Use state, use effect. Those two. Yeah. So we are done there. So let us now rush. So function. This one is the theme toggle, right? So if the theme toggle is going to take a couple of things, we just want to be able to switch from dark mode to light mode. So const is going to take dark. By default is light mode. So set dark. And this one is going to be a very special use state. Very special in the essence that you are going to take it from the local storage. So local storage dot get item. You're getting it from the browser. We want to see the state of the browser. That's what I'm talking about here. Theme. So it has to be the strict equivalence. If you want to switch to dark theme, it has to be the strict equivalence of that. Dark. You're done. Now, let us now flow. Let us now have an effect whereby if it is dark mode, where you mount and it is dark mode, you have to actually switch to dark mode. So you have to check the Windows effect like entirely. You can come and say, so const root, we want to check what is the current state. So window dot document dot get element. So this is where DOM comes in. Very, very good, by the way. Document dot get element. That is what we want to tap. And now, so that is the root. We have now wrapped it up. So we come and say, if we are in dark mode, this is now where we do switching. Conditionals, by the way. We come and say root dot, we create a class list. Remember, it's just CSS class list. So root dot class list. As long as we have toggled this as a document object model, we can now call it whenever we want. Dot add. So we want to add what? A dark theme. Come and say dark theme. So you're creating CSS out of nowhere, even if you're using what we are using, like Tailwind. Then you come and update that in the local storage dot set item. So it's get a setter. So set item, we're talking about theme, and the theme itself that you're trying to set, the new theme is now dark mode. So if it is light mode, we put an else statement here. So if it is the otherwise, so we come and say root dot class list dot remove. We remove it. We remove because the default one is normally the light mode. So we remove the dark theme, the dark pigmentation. Then you come and say local storage dot set. You set a new one. So you set what? Light theme. Come and say theme. Then you come and say light. We are done with that. So, but how is this triggered? How is this triggered? So it is only triggered when you mount a dark theme, when it is a use effect or a side effect of the browser. So when you mount it using the dark theme that you're seeing here, then now you can go to perform all of this. So it's a side effect. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us now finish this thing by this part by just saying, for you to have that theme, you need a button. The button that we have just called here, it is not here in vain. So we just come and say button, button. What is wrong? I'm writing button. What is wrong by the way? So button. Yeah, that's just like that. Then inside the button, what we are going to do is we are going to be switching between dark. So if it is dark, what are we supposed to put? So if it is dark, you put dark. Otherwise, just call the, what do you call? So if it is dark, remain dark. If it is otherwise, we call what? The sun icon. Remember the sun icon that we already have? So we call the sun icon, and the sun icon is going to carry a class name just to make sure that we have some length. Like it is not big, it is not small. So height 5, width 5. Very small by the way. Height 5, width 5. And then we are not done. So because it's the sun icon, and then you can now put the moon icon now. Also, this one has a class name of height 5, width 5. And then you can now close it. So you understand the logic here? So this one is on and off. It is an on and off. Now let us now check here. So here you can be able to come and put not even a class name. You don't need a class name because the button itself is already styled. So we don't need. So we come and put variants. So we come and put variant and say the variant is going to be in a ghost mode. Ghost mode. And then the size is going to be the size of an icon. Size is going to be an icon. What is happening? Why am I using these commas by the way? These commas are not supposed to be used. Icon. And then we can come and say, okay, if it is that, let us now have something called area label. Area or area label. So area label is going to be toggle theme. And then you can have an on click. It is triggered by the, we need to call this function. We need to call everything that is happening here. So on click, what are you supposed to call? The dark. So on click, we come and say, just trigger a certain function that uses the effect. So set dark, and then having not dark. So by default, it's going to be light theme. That is what we're talking about here. So you can, when you click, it can set it on and off. That is the theming now. Wait until, I'm not going to show you the beauty of it until we are done. Let's do the navbar. But because of time, thumbs up if you allow me to copy and paste as I explain. Because I tend to, I'm going to take a lot of time because of time. Great, so let me copy for the navbar and I'm going to explain. the course that I was working with earlier on. So when you have, we don't have time, by the way, because it is 23 minutes past time. So allow me to copy and paste. I've already done these things. Now, right now, you have to put links because it's a navigation bar. A navigation bar contains a lot of things, like you click this, you click this, you click this, right? So when you import link from the React router DOM, then you have the theme that you've already just created. Then you have the button, and then you have the drop down. Because the drop down, you can have the drop down menu, drop down menu content, drop down menu item on the trigger itself from shared CN. Then you can have the icon, the circular icon from the hero icons from the React. So what we are talking about here first is if you are logged out. So this is where you put route protection and everything. So if you are logged out, automatically just redirect the user to make sure that they are logged in, so that only those people who are logged in can be able to see everything in the navigation bar. So that is what you're going to see. Using the clerk, we can be able to see how to come around with that. You see? Now, for that, you come and just create navigation, having the theme around it. So you just call the theme first of all. It is going to be among the items. It's going to be among the items of the navigation menu. Let's say you have this icon, this icon, this icon, this icon, this icon. So this one you can say this one is the button to change the theme and everything. Then you can have a drop-down menu. When you click the drop-down, for example, when you click something like this, you have other things inside. So when you click the drop-down, you're going to have the drop-down trigger, which you're going to have several buttons that perform different functions. So drop-down menu, you have drop-down menu trigger, and then you also have another one, which is for logout. So you can only access this page if you are logged in. So we are done with that. Let us go for the task card. So the task card is not hard, by the way. It is straightforward. It is very straightforward, except we are using the cards from shared CN. We are using the cards from shared CN. Remember, the most important part that I told you is the services, the API. Understand this part. Then I'll be explaining the state hooks. As long as we don't have state hooks, everything is just user interface. It's just user interface, we just flow with it. So this one is a card that you are creating. A card can contain a card header, card title, card content, card footer, and everything. So you're going to see how this card works. I'm going to share the code. Because of time, this is why I'm rushing out. Task dialog. This one is going to be a bit different because you have to create a task itself. So we import everything that needs to be imported. Then you come and say, for the hooks that you are creating, for the user to enter a task, we need the title and the description. All of them are string formatted as data types. Then this is the method to create. So handle create, whereby when submit, you take these things as props, title and description. Then you empty the title and you empty the description. So after taking that, you come and say, click the button to add task. So it's going to open the dialog when you click that button. So when you click, you get a dialog content whereby you can now enter a new task with the title new task that you are saying here. And then you come and put your title. So you come and do an input. So this is sort of a form that you are creating here. It is sort of a form whereby it's going to take an input as the title and it's going to take a description in the text area format. And as you can see here, we are targeting e.target is targeting the text area, and the value is exactly what you are entering in the text area input. After that, there's a footer. So this footer can allow you to cancel the creation of that or click a button that is going to handle the create. So when you handle the create, you take the title and the description as props, then you pass them to the onSubmit, which is passed here, so that you can be able to use the task dialog whenever you want. Now, let us work with the dashboard. I don't know if I created the dashboard. Where is it? The pages. So we have the dashboard. So the dashboard itself is very beautified and everything, but this one is going to carry a lot of things. So we have all the imports that you can see here. We have all the imports that you can be able to see here. This one is supposed to be Sona. Yeah, Sona. Now, not toast. Now, you come and say, because you're dealing with the task, you need to display all of them. So as soon as you load the page, what are you supposed to see? You go to Axios, take the API that we have. You can just check the API. Here it is. So you take the API, you say, I want from the API to fetch my personal tasks. So it's going to set tasks directly. This one is the one that I was talking about. This one is the same as res.json that comes from the backend. So you take the use effect and say, whenever I mount, this is saying whenever I mount, currently if it is too late for you, you can just drop off the call, but let allow others to continue. So this one is going to mount the entire function inside the use effect. So whenever you load, you're going to find your method, your task are created there. Then you can come and check how to create a task. So this is how you create a task from the UI. You call this function call, which is going to take a payload. Then you come and say, from the backend, we need to post. We are posting what? Data. Via what? Payload. So we are going to see how this payload, you're going to take it there. So if there's a previous task, please just copy or copy paste it so that you can be able to come and add the new one. So this one is the new one. We are copying it to the current one. So if you had 2 tasks, now you're going to have 3 tasks. Then you're going to give the user title toast task created with a tick. So how do you handle the toggle tasks? So this is where you handle task per the user ID. You see, like you arrange them really well. Now, you come and say, find the tasks from the database, but because we are saying by ID, so we are saying T for task, so T.ID that you're creating for the task, it has to match exactly with the ID that you want to fetch. So this is where you're saying, I want task number 45. So we are going to the database and checking if the task number 45 is there and is matching the ID that we have here. If that is the case, you come and check, and this is where you come and update it. So toggling is updating. You come and check, okay, it is there. Let's now come and update that task and check with a complete button. So is it completed or not? So toggling, is it completed or not? So we want to update the task and say that initially completed, it was by default false. But when you say task.completed, you negate, it's going to change from false to true. So it's going to tick it and make sure it is true. After that, just make sure you map everything together and update the set tasks, right? Then this one is going to update the task. So if it was not completed, if it was false, you're going to have true now. How do you delete? The same way. Only this way you fetch, you filter, and you delete, or you filter everything out except the one that you are calling, so that you can come and say delete it. So you filter everything out except the one that you are calling. Now, for that, the UI is very simple. The UI is very simple. This is how you can be able to do it. Just having a main wrapping around everywhere and a div, have a title, my task. Remember, it's your personal tasks that you are able to see. Then you have everything rolled down. So task card is going to carry a key value pair, carrying a toggle to tick if it is complete and a delete if you want to delete it. Let us jump on the another one, which is the sort of final, I guess, but is not entirely final. But I've not done login and sign up. I don't know. I've not done login and sign up. I have to do login and sign up. But for login and sign up, I'll see what to do because of time. Now, let us go for the app.jsx, which is going to converge everything together into place. Very simple, by the way, very simple. Then I'm going to show you login and sign up. Now, when you come here, you're going to see how you're declaring the route. So it's called browser routes, router, then from the browser router, you have the child called routes. The child called routes has route particularly. Then you're going to see to access the route, this is the main page, but you have to navigate to dashboard so that you can get the home. So the home is the dashboard. Then this is for login, sign up. Then the route for dashboard is protected. So this dashboard is protected. You cannot access it unless, that's why we have a protected route here. So let me do the protected route so that you can be able to see what exactly is this protected route. So you can come, where is it? Utils. So how do you define the protected route that you have been doing all along? So you attach it to the tokens that you have been talking about. So if the token is provided, well and good. Otherwise, please just navigate the user to the login page. Just navigate that user to the login page. Very simple. So we are fetching it via this. Remember, the backend submits the token to the browser for storage. Then you go to the browser and fetch it there, get item, right? So let us do the login and sign up. Because that we have not done yet. But I believe you people are understanding exactly what you are talking about, right? So the login, this one is going to be very simple but very detailed because this is where you're going to see, okay, now this is what we have been talking about. Now, yeah, it makes sense a lot. It's going to make sense a lot. Unless you have a question, but we are almost done. It's almost 3 hours, by the way. It's taking so much time. Now, let me just proceed. Now, of course, we import everything that we are importing, the UI, but this is a very important thing. API from service.api. Those who are putting thumbs down, forgive me, but I have to rush because of time. By the way, I have to rush because of time, because I'm going past time. People have schedule on this weekend. So allow me just to rush. The video is being recorded. Others have done this I've done all of this in the catch-up class, and we are going to see it in the next catch-up class. Now, we are taking the email, we're taking the password and navigation, because after logging somebody in, you have to navigate somebody to the next step. And then we're taking the loading state, which by default is false, right? So we're checking if we don't have the email and we don't have the password, just alert the user that all fields are required. Somebody was talking about that. Then you put a loading state to true. Otherwise, if everything goes well, put everything on the try catch and finally is a special case of try catch and finally. Then you come and say, wait for us to post the database, the details that we are posting. We are posting what? The database or the backend, email and password. If they all go correctly, we are going to fetch, we are going to set the token such that we are going to say that token, we are putting it in the local storage. After that, if everything goes well in the API level, backend, we are going to navigate to the dashboard. Otherwise, just login failed or just keep loading. The UI is very simple. I'm not going to delve deeper into it, but just email and password. Simple. Nothing more. Now the sign up should be simple as well. Now this one handling the submit, the sign up, because when you come and see here, this one is handle login, such that when you come and submit here, you take the on click, which is handle login, is going to handle it by default. Now for the sign up, same case, the same thing that I've been talking about, same case, same thing, except this one is for sign up. So when you're done with everything, everything is done and dusted. Let us see if we have been talking to ourselves. So we come back here, pnpm run dev. Okay, Dost, I knew this is the problem. I knew this guy is going to take me into a round trip of issues. I knew this guy was going to take me to a round trip of issues. So where did I get that guy? Here it is. So here I said toast. Mm, don't have time to think. Let me just ask ChatGPT. Mhm. Okay, let us go here. We normally have components. So when you come to toast, you're going to be directed to sauna. You can see you're going to be directed to sauna. So this is how you add it. So after adding it, so let me override it. So this is how you use it. You use it as toaster. But when it comes to other places, you use it as uh, so you use it as the US toaster, but when it comes here, you use it as toast. So it comes in two ways, by the way. So we are correct. So this is how you can go to use it. Let us see here, because this is where the problem is, I guess. But I've not even tagged it here. Now, how will it cry out? Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. Let us go to main.jsx. Okay. No, we are supposed to edit it here. Oof. Hey, this thing is very difficult. I don't know why it is the same issue again. No. Okay. Copy. A moment of truth. Ah, of course. Task area. Where's the problem with that now? Does the file does not exist? Text area. I've not added text area. Let me see. Oh yeah, yeah. We have not added text area. Done. Hmm. Let's see the issues that you are facing down here. Yeah. Okay. Let me just repeat it because you're done, by the way. So we have Sauna. What else are we missing? So let us go to app.jsx. So we need something here because for it to be confirmed, so import toaster. Yeah, import toaster from Sauna, then I'm going to reuse this toaster. So do I do that? And this one is correct. Okay, we are done. We are done, people. Let me just confirm a couple of things and put this one under here, which is toaster. You can come and say reach balance and position it well. Top right. So we can put it anywhere that we want, by the way. So we want to add it to appear around here, top right position. Yeah, that is where I want it to appear. And then also you can put duration if you want to. Close button if it stays there for so long. Yeah, all of these things you can be able to do it. Here we have the title. Anyway, let us run it again. Dashboard line 6. Mhm. Let me see. So they are saying Sona does not provide. You see, now having these issues, yeah, I'm doing it the correct way, by the way. Because if you go to the code, this is how you use it. Host, I've removed the title. Add Sona. Let's go back. Me, I don't understand why it's behaving like that. Oh, okay. We have a. Hey, now where are this coming from? Oh, this one was for Shadcn. See these errors. Wait. Okay, somebody saying something import toast. What have I done? Import toast. It is not capital, but it is small. Mhm. Or we can just come and do a Sona. Sona has toaster. Okay, let us see. Another issue. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, you can go, but we are missing something. We don't have a place to switch between sign up and login. We can have that place, by the way. Here you can come at the bottom. Let us start with the login part. You see at the bottom here, like just below the card footer here, you can just come. Should be within the, come and say paragraph. And then in here, you can just put something like class name. Let me do it faster. Text is small. Text should be centered. Text should be, there's this color that we have seen called zinc. But let us give it 600, I think. And then should be dark. Text zinc around 300, I guess. Margin top, give it 4. And then the paragraph itself, what does the paragraph say? Don't have an account. An account. So if that's that, they don't have an account, um, we can now put an account here and say, let us put a space. So for you to put a space, this is how we do it. Just an empty space. Then from their space, we can be able to come and say link. Now this link should be sign up. Sign up. Just like that. And then here you can come and say navigation to where? So to, you're saying to sign up page. And then we can have our class name. So this class name, essentially, we are going to say, let it be text blue 600, the usual. Then when you hover, what should happen? It should appear underlined. When you hover, it should be underlined, such that, let us see, it is not reflective. Where might be the issue be? I've seen. Here's the issue. Why does it work? It's supposed to work, link. This property. So this label, what is the solution to that? Like, let me see. Anybody with a solution for that? So that is what I've done here. Link is not defined. Because we don't want to use link, let us use router, because routers work, by the way. Why am I even bothered with this? Yet I can able to come and use router. I can just come and use router if I want to. Because when you tend to use these links, they tend to not work most of the time. Let's go back. Debugging in constant. I'm not perfect, but I make mistakes. And sometimes we can be able to use router. Uh, okay. Yeah, so let us import this one. Let's just import the router. The link itself, so import. Import what link? From, uh, is it in the list? React, router DOM. Yeah, problem solver, problema de solve. So when you click here, it is going to take us here, but we cannot go back. So we can just come and copy the exact same format for login. We can just copy the exact same format for login. So we just copy here and we go to sign up at the bottom, just below this one. And then you can come and say this one is login. Navigates to login. Yeah, very simple. So this one is already have an account. Then you're navigated there such that when you click, okay, yeah, we have not imported what I was talking about here. So let us just come and copy that boy there. You come at the top here and throw it in there. There you go. So you can come here and let me log in using my email. So remember, our database doesn't have anything. So let us see the moment of the truth. Okay, TaskDB. Do we have TaskDB? But we have dev TaskDB. We have not created. So we come and say that then at Power Learn Project Africa.org. I throw in my password however I want. Then I click sign up. There you are. So never. So I can switch. Where is my club by the way? Where is my club people? I can able to switch. So when I go to the database, I tend to refresh. I should be able to see dev task. And when I go to the users, there you are. This is my password, fully hashed. And I'm in what level? Developer category. So as you can see, this is the task. So I can able to click here and say, learn Axios integration to API. I wanna learn this concept so I can sync backend with frontend easily. So let us see. Beta task. There you are. So let us see if this task is there. Go to task, refresh. It is not there. So we have an issue somewhere. Let us investigate. Server, everything is okay. So why am I not seeing my tasks? Okay, let us see how the data passes the backend. Yeah, we have access error. Status 4.3. Ah, so if I want to access everything, let us go to Postman. But when you go here, let me show you. When you go to application, local storage, go to local storage, you should be able to see the token. Here is the token, but the token is undefined. Okay, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from, essentially? There's a place where we are missing the point, by the way, people. And I'm not getting it, by the way. Don't know why. I just created a task, but the task didn't go through. Why? Okay, let us go here. Let's go to Postman and see the truth. So we can come here. This is where you test just API. So we can come and say, we call this one dev tasks. Now within there, you can add a request, which is a get request. So we come and say get tasks. So this get request, we can come and say maybe 5,000. And then tasks, no API, and then tasks. Let us see. We have a big error. I'm cooking myself within my code base. Let's stop this and run it again. Great. So let me log out. Let us log in with the same details. Now, so we have logged in, but when you go here, we'll not be able to see any. Don't know why we are not seeing. Our token is saying undefined. The theme is dark. If you change it, light, dark, light, dark. So we have an issue here such that the local storage doesn't store our token. Now, where is the problem? We have a problem here such that the task that we are creating is not the exact task that we have requested. You see, the task that you are creating is not the task that we are requested. Mhm. Now, where is the issue? Geniuses, where are you? Now we want to diagnose this thing really, really deeper. I want to see exactly where I went wrong. So we come here in the task. Where is it? Task dialog. Is it here? No. Dashboard. Because I'm not able to see. I'm not able to see everything that I want to see. So let us go for the UI and see why, first of all, the token is not there, like the token. You should be seeing the token. Set data.token. So this one is the one that exists here, which is okay. Uh-huh. So let us write at guard here. Let us write a guard. If res dot data doesn't exist for the token, what are we supposed to do? Let us have an alert saying login failed, no token, and then return. It is important to be able to see. You see, these things are, if you ignore them, let me clear. Let us log in. Yeah, login failed. The token doesn't exist. And even when you can see here, that is the case. Wow. Uh-huh. The session storage doesn't have anything. in a very tight spot. I've written all the codes correctly, but I don't know why it is failing. Let me continue debugging. Let us check our login route. Go to the backend because if they are not showing even blipping of any issue, I don't know why. The controller, the auth controller, yeah. So everything is here. We are matching everything, everything is okay. But the fact that it is posting on the database, we are okay. The fact that it is posting on the database, we are okay. If we had something like res.send, that is going to be bad because it is not matching. Mhm. Well, people, okay, let us say geniuses. What are you people saying? Check populate server in the backend. Somebody check populate, populate. Okay, let us check our populate. But remember, populating is different. How did I write it? Not here, not here. This is not the problem because our first problem is, oh, oh hey, hey, wow, wow, you guys, I don't know how you are seeing this thing. Wow, wow. Hey, people, I don't know how you are seeing these things, but my goodness, let us try it again. But this is not working. Now bringing more errors. Wait. Okay, okay. Now we are seeing the errors now. The errors are now clear. Okay, we do this. I'm going to continue debugging, then I can record a short video and attach it to that because time is far much gone. Allow me to debug in my own time. We cannot do 3 hours and we are failing because I know these things. I know JavaScript. JavaScript doesn't give you where the error is. If it was TypeScript, fine, but it's JavaScript. Now this is what I'm saying. But thank you so much. Token on task handler. Let us check what Dennis is saying. Token on task handler. Let us see. The token on task handler. Mhm. Model create. Where's that task handler? Don't have any task handler. Why? I'm not disappointed. We have come this far. Our code is okay, but there's something that's somewhere. There's something somewhere. Allow me to record a video, but let me push this code first. A lot of typos. Mhm. Anyway, let me open the mic for the people to talk. Anyone who wants to say something, but allow me to record a session aside on that because I don't like putting my task uncompleted. But thank you for the extra eyes. Thank you so much for the extra eyes. Who wants to say something before we end the call? It is time is so much gone. Yes, Nathan. Nathan, anyone who wants to say something? Otherwise, the session is done. Let us take a look at Amos. Amos, hello.
Hello.
Evening.
Afternoon. Mine is just a suggestion.
Mhm.
Um, Instead of us rushing over, like today, and personally, I've been floating throughout. Why don't we have another session during the week, another extra session to reduce the pace in which you're covering such? Just that.
Yeah, that is far much noted. We normally have a catch up. This catch up this time is going to be very different. Having in mind that our class in the next Friday is going to be very simple. Just Socket.io on top of what we have done is just adding a feature. So of course we are going to do something there. We are going to start early. And I believe we can even push 4 to 5 hours if you have the energy. But I have. Last time we did 3 hours. So this time we are going to start early, around 2. If you're going to get it done by 5, just breaking chunk by chunk, chunk by chunk, and I can be able to even explain Clark at that point because the reason why we are getting all of these issues is because we are going hardcore on authentication.
Very sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. You can just mute Sacred.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Evening.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question regarding these components. Is there a way that instead of somebody hard coding the pages, they can just like the login page and the sign up page, you can just maybe get the code from somewhere, the whole component code?
Yeah, that is not what Clark does, by the way. Clark is
All right.
amazing. Like they can just entirely replace everything using Clark. When you come to their docs, you should be able to see they have so many. So when you click React, you start from scratch with them. This is how you import it. You do this, you do this. Then when it comes to authentication, we just need to call the sign up, log out, log in, and everything works perfectly, even the user profile. So using Clark, wow, wow, wow. Clark is amazing. Because we don't have time, we are past overtime, and it is a weekend. People are supposed to go in a weekend. So yeah,
All right. Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. So let me share the repo. I just copied the repo. I forgot to share. Hey, myself, I'm famished, man. Talking for 3 hours, just like lecturing a philosophy class. But anyway, thank you so much. See you on Wednesday, and I'm going to record that session. Maybe you're going to get the recording tomorrow, but I just need rest. Then I come and debug. This is not the first project that I'm debugging. There's a startup that I'm building. I'm a software engineer there. I'm building a startup. And let me tell you, I'm past due over the MVP and I have not delivered, but they understand because it is not, even if you use AI, these huge code bases are very difficult to understand. And it takes time for you to build. So yeah. I'm not going to take Red Bull. That thing is going to kill you, man. I've done that before. I'm not going to go back there. That's why I don't even use coffee. to translate when coding. I just use my brain. Don't want to get old quickly. I'm not that old. Anyway, bye-bye. See you next time. Welcome to the weekend.